Hello, welcome to Furious Driving, and today we're over in the big echoey barn surrounded by lots of rather fun retro cars, which is the Furious fleet. Well, at least about half of the Furious fleet, or just under as it goes. I think there's 12 cars including the daily Mercedes, 13 if you include the temporary electric van. It's getting a bit out of hand really. The problem with that is that you don't often get to drive all of the cars as often as you would like to. In particular, it's my poor old Volvo 740, which I can't remember the last time I actually drove it. We took it to the NEC back in November, was that? It was starring on the iDriver Classic and Hubnut shared stand back then, but you can now see how thick the dust is because it's been parked in here pretty much from the first day. Well, this was the first car to come into the barn when I took it on, must have been around Christmas time, so it's could be 3 or 4 months since this thing's turned a wheel. It does still fire up. I have fired up from time to time, and it's been on a maintenance charger as well. So yeah, what I need to do now though is get everything else out of the way. And while I do it, I'm going to work through a few other little bits and bobs of problems. Coupe will fire up, I'm confident of that, because the coupe always starts up. However, I'm taking it off the road temporarily because it needs some undersealing underneath it, because there's some bit of rust showing through, surface rust, not corrosion that you need to worry about, but if I catch it now, it will not be an issue. It's also chucking oil out quite frantically. If I get underneath this bonnet, from this rocker cover, so I'm going to take that off. I've spoken to Discount Energy Road Supplies. They say they can't supply me with a new gasket until I take the head off, the rocker cover off. Then I'll be able to say which one I need. So yeah, that will be not urgent exactly, but the amount of oil it's losing is unpleasant. So that will be a job to do before the car drives again. Also, I would like to get the thing painted. I mean, a few of you saw it up at Pride of Longbridge very recently, and generally people thought it looks quite good, but you know, when you know there are problems, you can't not see them. So I'm seeing all the problems all the time. I want to do a bit of paintwork on it, and yeah, just various other jobs. The gear shift's really floppy on it as well. This one has got a airbag light on again, so I've borrowed a code reader to turn that off yet again. I think the problem is when the battery goes too low, or when you change the battery, you wind up with the airbag lights on when you've got an iffy wire, so we'll sort that out, and hopefully it won't happen again. It does also have a stuttering misfire, which I think will be HT lead, so I'm going to give it some major service very shortly indeed, but we'll work through that one. The Alfa has got a host of problems. The only one I think I can actually physically fix, which I'm not going to do right now because I left the motor right at home, is the washer motor, because I bought one of those the other day. That looks like the same thing, but you know, I left it behind. But basically, it's tried my patience once too often and I'm bored of it. So in a couple of days' time, it's going to get shipped off to Go Italia, and Jamie is going to sort out pretty much everything. He's going to do the CV boot, he's going to do those brake flexes. I've doused them in Bulldog, so it might come off for him really easy, who knows. The light aim is just all over the place. I can't even find the adjusters I'm supposed to be adjusting, so if we just disconnect them, he knows where to find them, disconnect them and point them in the correct direction, we can forget them forever. Exhaust, I'm hoping, is not leaking anymore. Washers, that pump will sort out, and then this car will be good for an MOT again, and we can actually use it and enjoy it at last. So maybe we'll start with this one, because why not? It's the one that's going to cause most problems, I'm sure. We did change the battery on it. I don't know if this got mentioned on camera last time or not, but it's on charge as always. Even though it's not doing anything, I just keep these tops up just for the sake of it. There we go. Let's go and find myself. Wow, that alarm is so loud when you're under the bonnet. I've got a feeling it's going to cause me some grief. Because it's been sat a little while, I have just dumped in a gallon of... Wow, that's deafening. Sorry, a gallon of V-Power, because when I left Quentin parked for a little while, I had an issue that it just wouldn't fire. So, like with Quentin, after that car had been stood for a while, it's hard to do with this one because the suspension is just so stiff. I'm putting in a gallon of V-Power, and now I'm just trying to rock it as much as I can, but as I say, being a very, very hard-sprung sports car rather than a floppy convertible, this one is less inclined to do that. Let's see if this one will go now. Oh, it's alive! I was genuinely concerned that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, Did I just say a minute ago, I can't, I'm losing track of time. The company which supplied that battery off eBay honoured the warranty. They asked me to do a couple of tests on it, which I did. They then took it back and they did their own tests, and a couple of days later they confirmed it was dead and they sent me a new one, no quibble, which is great. Thank you to Tainer Batteries who supplied it. They're quite a decent price as well, so it's a relief to know there are good companies out there and you can trust the internet every now and then. Right, battery reconnected. Oh yeah, forgot that, always does that. Always does the hooty horn when you reconnect the battery. Yay! Good old Tomcat. This one never fails. Right, this one can go out first, come back in first as well and get buried at the back. Oh, poor car. Now next up we have the Mini. Hooray! Which is actually on charge as well. I mustn't forget to disconnect that before I drive away, otherwise that'll be an accident waiting to happen. Right, once again, my airbag light is a permanent fixture on the dashboard. So this is actually my dad's tool because he's got a few cars that need occasional fixing. And so we'll quickly get this thing sorted out. Fortunately, this is very easy to use. Right, quick test, scanning. Oh gosh, lots of faults actually. 7 faults, let's have a read of them. Blower motor short circuit to positive, that's interesting. Heated rear window problems, oh, that's very interesting. Didn't know I had those issues. Can data fault from DME fault doesn't trigger, yeah, okay. So clear fault memory on that one, done. MRS, read fault code. Side airbag, yeah, that's the one we always get. Clear fault memory. This might be because we've changed the battery and it's just thrown a lot of stuff up. So just clear those ones as well. And then once I run the car in and out the barn, we'll see where we go. Right, okay, let's turn this thing off now. Now this car also had a new battery not so long ago, so I think everything's had a new battery not so long ago apart from the Volvo, which is still incredibly on its original Volvo battery, or at least an original Volvo battery. Right, let's get this thing out of here. So, big pile of spare parts I've been collecting for this car on the passenger seat. CV boots, exhaust tang of various flexis. I've just realised, of course, that there is the brakes are a bit weak because I've been half bleeding them basically. Well, I say not bleeding, just emptying. Right, so I'll take this out with extreme caution. Now, it seemed like a great idea to jack the car up on dollies, roll it into the corner and have it tucked out of the way, and in a way it kind of is. It means it's stored no problem. The thing is though, it's taken me the best part of an hour to get that one free now. Right. Oh. It's amazing how dirty a car can get without actually moving at all. Now before I jack this up individually on each side, but lots of people said you can jack under the diff on a 740, so I will, if I can find my jack. Well, I would if I can actually reach it. One free. These have made this garage situation so much easier. I've actually nudged it into the wall with the jack then. I wonder what the noise was. Yeah, having these Draper roller things have made this, well, basically possible to store the cars as I want to. Of course, getting the coupe on these things will prove considerably harder because that is properly low. Now, I have had this car on triple charge on and off. there's a reason people call these things the best cars in the world, because they're just awesome. Right, just try and get this thing out again, because that's going to be a challenge. Well, that, thankfully, is surprisingly easy to manoeuvre, and I was able to get it in there just parallel parking it quite happily. What is a bit of a trick, though, is getting it backwards around this bend. It is actually 1,000 times harder to reverse around this corner than it is to drive in forwards. So yes, so it's easier to park backwards into that slot. It's a lot more difficult to reverse in and around 90 degrees with the staircase in the way. Right, next Mini will go in, then the Volvo, because the Volvo is too long to sit on that wall just there, and the Alfa can be there waiting to go off to go Italia in a day or two time, and the Volvo can be there waiting to go out for a drive. Right, so that is the cars back in a different order, so that car is ready to be moved away to go Italia soon as possible, so they can go and sort out all the MOT issues, get that one sorted. That one I was going to drive home, but I forgot to bring the V5, so I can't tax it, you idiot. I know it's a third of the way through the month anyway, but I haven't driven this in so long. I really just want to get behind the wheel and drive the Volvo again, just because. Mini tucked away in the corner, have a look at you, take you for a drive very soon indeed. And Tomcat is on Sawn now, and yeah, we'll take a look at sorting the oil issues out with that one. And this place does look just so different now the cars are reorganised. The Volvo being in the corner just makes the place look like a completely different room. Very strange. Although it is highlighting the fact that maybe I need to go and get myself a bigger barn. Oh, I'll give it a little while yet. I've not been here 6 months yet. Already have outgrown it. Right, before I do go home though, because disappointment of not staying home in the Volvo can be waylaid by the triumph of putting the correct radio back in here, because VHS Chloe from off of Twitter has restored my original Volvo radio. So let's just pop this one out, disconnect it, and then have a look at what we got. I've made one little boo-booette, you might like to say. Or have I? Yeah, I think I have. I've run new cables to all the speakers, which are now these red and black cables, which go to this connector here, not off the back of the actual radio block. I'm going to have to splice these in. I'll have to bring some choc block thingies over or something and splice this all up to make this work properly. Next time I will have this working, but look how pretty that looks. That is just lovely. And thanks to Chloe having taken this thing apart and basically rebuilt the gear wheels on the back of this stuff, it now actually tunes where it's meant to tune, which is quite exciting. So there we have it, a bit of a behind the scenes of shuffling the cars around and sort of showing you what it takes to get things moved around as I want them to be or need them to be for the next stages of whatever's going to be happening next on the channel. As it goes, Volvo is ready to drive out and enjoy. If I hadn't been such an idiot, I could have taken it home. Alfa is ready to get worked on and be driven. Mini, I don't know, just running the diagnostic again because the airbag light came back on again whilst I was manoeuvring it. So yes, lots in the pipeline, but yeah, this is the fun and games I have trying to shuffle cars around an entire afternoon just to get that car at the front and that one out from the back. Anyway, thank you for watching. As always, please like and subscribe, you know the drill, and join me again next time when I'll actually pick up a spanner and fix something. Well, maybe. Right, okay, airbag. So I can turn this thing off once again, and all those faults which I mentioned previously have disappeared, so they were just a side effect. Oh, that's so flimsy, that port down there. Let's just make sure that's all off. There we go, airbag light out for at least 10, maybe 15 minutes, probably, if I'm lucky. Right, until next time.